Hey, what's going on, Seminole Nation? It's CJ Wilson here with DoakTalk. Of course, I am your host. Going to go ahead and get into camp talk. I know you guys have been anxious in regards to what's been going on behind closed doors and practice and things like that. We're pretty much 4 practices in, if I'm not mistaken, with the early start of fall camp. Just want to bring you guys a few updates that I've gathered so far within a couple sources that's been at practice and just media sessions and listen to Mike Norvell talk, other coaches talk about who's been standing out and things like that. So just a combination of that. Well, before we get started, make sure you guys hit this like button and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, go ahead and hit that like button. It takes a few seconds and subscribe. We're right here, right around the corner from the season. It's really about to kick off. So the content is going to be kicking off. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff going on with Dope Talk this year. I'm also going to be bringing back the live videos as well when I have you guys on and just get your takes in regards to the game and talk things out a little bit. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And also, if you're coming to the home opener against Alabama, first game of the season, newly renovated stadium, Doak Campbell Stadium. It's going to be a star-studded event. Make sure you guys grab your tailgate ticket. Grab your tailgate ticket now. This is probably going to be the biggest tailgate we've thrown so far for a home game, rather, at FSU. This is going to be crazy. We have a pretty big lineup. I want to get into all the names. It's going to be a few surprises, but we'll be partnering me, James Coleman, former FSU fullback. We are partnering with Peter Warwick, the best receiver in program history. He's going to be in the tennis, and we're kind of partnering with him in regards to bringing a lot of former FSU players out to the tailgate just to hang out with you guys and enjoy the vibes. It's a lot of excitement going into this first game. And we're going to have some Alabama players as well, 2 former Alabama players. So go ahead and grab your ticket. All you can eat, all you can drink. We're going to be having multiple TVs out as well. And it's going to be showing the game because that ticket is sky high, to be quite honest with you. We're going to be streaming the game as well as also, 12 o'clock games. But if you don't plan to make it into Doak Campbell Stadium, $65. You can eat, you can drink, you can hang out with the guys, and you can watch the football game from the tailgate. Go ahead and grab it. The link is in the description. All right, guys, let's jump right into it, man. This is a few things I want to talk. We're going to go offense and defense. The first I want to speak about is just offense and what we've been looking at for FSU thus far in fall camp. And of course, it starts with the quarterback and the leader, and that's Thomas Castellano. And this is a direct quote from Mike Norvell from today's practice, actually. When I say today, I'm talking about Monday, August the 4th. Mike Norvell stated, I thought Tommy had a really good day, probably some of the best sets he has had, where you feel his ownership, you feel the spark he could bring. And guys, that's pretty much been in line with what I've been hearing from sources in regards to the program. Tommy Castellano, he's been playing some really good football for FSU, man. He's been looking damn good. Uh, he's a leader. He's becoming a leader. He's making his imprint within the team, man. I really like what I've been hearing from Thomas Castellano. He's playing really good ball. The offensive line as well, they are looking damn good. Damn good. And just speaking within the offensive line, we didn't really get to see him in spring practice due to the fact of we had multiple injuries on the offensive line from spring practice. I think Gunnar Hansen, he had some injuries coming over from Vanderbilt, and of course, Michael Pettis, Ole Miss. So, and then Richie Leonard, he pretty much had season-ending injury, a season-ending injury and surgery that hampered him early in spring as well. So we got all of those guys back healthy, and it's been paying dividends. Those guys can be very good together, very good. Speaking of offensive line, you see Coach Herb Hand right there with those guys. They could be damn good this year, especially the starting unit. And this quote got me damn excited. Michael Pettis, he had a media session today, and this quote really got me excited. I don't think I've heard an offensive lineman speak like this or had this type of energy from FSU within a long time. So this is a positive sign for us because this isn't something we hear too often or have heard too often within recent history. This is a direct quote from Michael Pettis in regards to practice. We're moving the ball, taking people we're moving the ball, taking people where we wanted to take them. So pretty much moving your opponent against their will across the field and things like that, man. And he said it was just all clicking today. So that's very encouraging to hear within the offensive line. Now, I will preface it by saying this. I do think we can't afford any injuries within the offensive line. So if those 5 guys stay healthy, I think the offensive line could be pretty formidable. But if we do have an injury within the offensive line, that's when things could get a little bit shaky and dicey. Coach Herb has done a hell of a job in regards to pretty much addressing new starters across the board, except for Richie Leonard, and kind of raising the roof to the offensive line for what we had last year. But at the same time, building complete depth within the offensive line hasn't been achieved yet and won't be achieved within one offseason, in my opinion. It's a few guys that if we do have step up, I do think Rizzi, the Harvard transfer, He was injured this spring as well. He's coming back healthy. He will be one of the first guys off the bench. And also Andre Otto, as you guys remember, he did start a few games last year as well as a redshirt freshman. Is going to be a redshirt sophomore this upcoming year. If he can continue his development, he's a guy I think he can be a very good player for FSU in the future. But if he can continue his development within fall camp, I think him and Rizzi could be two formidable guys as far as first man off the bench if we do have issues within the offensive line as far as injuries. Those two guys have pretty much played three different positions as far as the center, right guard, and left guard. So we can use them within the inside if need be. But hopefully it doesn't come to that. One main focus I would say the staff should have is being smart, work hard, of course, be physical within fall camp, but be smart within that work and things like that. Because, like I stated, I think you have a pretty good group from the offensive line standpoint if things stay healthy. And that's pretty much the starting offense in general. If we have guys that stay healthy, this offense could be pretty damn good. All right, moving on to the running backs a little bit that's been standing out. Gavin Sawchuk and Cromar. Cromar, those are the two guys that's been standing out in regards to the sources I've been hearing. Mike have mentioned Cromar is a guy that's, ahead of the curve as a freshman. I don't want to get too far in regards to it because this kid is being pretty hyped as it is, but he may be better than advertised in regards to what we got in. And we thought he was pretty damn good coming in. So big time playmaker. I think at season's end, just my opinion, how it could play out, these two could be the top two running backs at season end, getting the most carries. And Gavin Sawchuk, the Oklahoma transfer, and Usman Cromar, the all-world true freshman that has enrolled to FSU. Mike Norvell recently stated as well, too, he was asked a question in the media session, which receivers have been the best thus far? And he said Deuce Robinson, no surprise, right? Squirrel White, and Jaden Boggs. And this is probably Javen Boggs, excuse me. That's probably the most, not necessarily shocking, but because we've been hearing raving reviews about this kid, but I guess you could say pleasant. I don't even know what the word to put, man. I'm just excited for this kid. He's that damn good, in my opinion. If you guys haven't saw the FSU social media or YouTube or anything like that, matter of fact, I'm pretty sure my guys at Double Fries No Star they have posted it in regards to the one-handed catch that Boggs had in practice, and that's just routine for this kid. He's been a playmaker since he stepped foot on campus as far as FSU. I think he's going to start for FSU being a 3 receiver, and that just shows how much work he's put in and just the natural talent he has. It's no secret why he won Mr. Florida his junior year and followed it up with like a 2,000-yard season, breaking the state record in the state semifinals for most receiving yards in the game with 300-plus receiving yards. We're talking about the state of Florida, man. You have 300-plus receiving yards in the state semifinal. You get that far within the playoffs. The competition, he's not getting those 300 yards against no slouches, man. He's getting those 300 yards against pretty damn good players. So to have the numbers that he's had within the last few years and to come into FSU is no surprise. I really think we got a steal within this kid. He's going to be one of those ones when it's all said and done as far as his time at FSU. Don't be surprised if you see a Rashard Green type of freshman year, and then the rest is history for Boggs. But again, Deuce Robinson, your 6'6", Jacob, 6'6", 235-pound receiver. Switch Army Knight can pretty much do everything. And then Squirrel White, he's the receiver that can pretty much take the top off the defense as far as the speed. Another receivers he mentioned as well is Elijah Moore and Lawayne McCoy, two redshirt freshmen, 4-star receiver recruits that are brought in. If these guys can come along, and I'm really high on Elijah Moore, and I think Lawayne McCoy could be a good player as well. If these two guys can come along with Boggs, what we have with Deuce and Squirrel, that could be a real nice receiver room as far as those 5 guys in regard. And it's going to be other guys within the rotation as well, I believe, too. But those 5 guys, if they can be consistent, especially one of those younger receivers like a Lawayne McCoy, Elijah Moore, if they can be consistent and keep stepping up, I really think the receiver room could be pretty something special for FSU. All right, let's move on to the defensive side, my favorite side of the ball. And speaking to the source that was at practice, they are very high on Tony White, man. They are very high on Coach White. They think this defense could be damn good just off of course, talent is on the defensive side, but just the way Tony White approaches the game, how he coaches, how these kids are relating to Coach White, it resonates. So I be completely honest with you, I don't think FSU is going to have him for long. He's going to be a guy that's going to be a head coach at some point in time. And speaking with the source that was at practice, pretty much Jackson is the first person off the bus type, but we already knew that, right? But his body is more, first of all, he gained more weight from last year. His body is more chiseled also. So he gained more weight as far as the body mass, but it doesn't look any different from a composition standpoint. He looks even better. But on the flip end, he's been building upon the offseason he had. As you guys remember in the defensive line video, I stated that he ended up breaking the rock. Well, Coach Storms let him to break the rock in regards to all the work he put in over the summer leading up to fall camp, and that has continued. He's been a leader on the field. He's been very vocal. So look for DJ to continue to have a big year. Coach Tony White and Pop Rose pretty much been saying like this kid has all the talent in the world and can be, you know, one of the better players in the country in the high draft pick. James Williams, the transfer from Nebraska, pretty much stated that he thinks Jackson is the best player he's ever played with rather. So it's been some big words for D-Jack, but again, I think he's primed to build upon how he finished the season last year. Spring ball, summer workouts, now we're in fall camp and it's still translating. Jason Jenkins, he's a guy that I guess remember early reports. He was a guy that was having that he is still hurt. Don't get it twisted, but he was a guy that was pretty much. I guess you could say it was rumors that he was going to be pretty much out for the entire season or for the most part of the season. Now it's looking like he could probably be back for the early portion of the season and probably even play against Alabama, which is a very positive sign for the defensive line. As far as true freshmen, it's a few true freshmen on the defensive line that's standing out, and they're going to play a lot of football for FSU this upcoming year. That's Darryl this year, Mandrell this year, the two twin brothers, and Kevin Wynn. Those three guys are for sure going to play for FSU this year. And speaking with the sources, and hell, even listening to Mike Norvell talking things like that, those freshmen they're going to play some good football for FSU. A good amount of football for FSU. Really good hits across the board within the defensive line for this 2025 recruiting class. And those guys are going to be players for FSU, and it's going to be sooner than later, rather. Wilson. Jeremiah Wilson is a name that keeps popping up. I really think, in speaking with sources and early reports, he's been a steal. He was a steal from the spring portal window. It was a reason why he was highly ranked as far as one of the top transfer cornerbacks available. He's been nothing but stellar for FSU. He's been a dog, to say the least. He rarely gets beat in practice. He's very physical, even though he has a smaller stature from a cornerback standpoint. The kid is very physical. If he gets hands on you, he's violent with his hands, moves his feet very well. He reads routes. He's not the fastest player in the world, this, that, and third, but he gets the job done with his technique. He has enough speed, don't get it twisted, but he gets the job done with his techniques, his physical, him being physical at the point of attack and just knowing football. This is a kid he's become a natural leader for FSU as well too. He spoke about how him and a few other cornerbacks and defensive backs in general have been coming out to practice early around like 4:30. Well, coming pretty much getting double work, coming out around 4:35 a.m., getting some work in the morning ahead of practice and things like that. And a lot of other defensive backs are following suit and doing what he's doing. He's a kid that's pretty much he's like Mike Norvell in a sense, because you hear how high Mike Norvell is and things like that, and you think it's a front, but do you hear people within the program like, nah, this is Norvell pretty much every day. The same with Jeremiah Wilson. He's a high energy guy, day in and day out. He's pretty much the same. He's always on 10. He's bringing a much needed lift to the locker room from, like I said, from a leadership standpoint and just from a player standpoint, from a on-field standpoint, football standpoint. He's been a hell of a addition from the cornerback room. I think he's a lot started one of the cornerback positions. And of course, you have the battle for the second cornerback position between Rawls and Quinterius Jones, in my opinion. But yeah, I really like where we're at with Jeremiah Wilson. He's a big-time playmaker for FSU. Look for him to make a lot of plays on the field. Earl Little, he's going to be the starter for the rover position. Of course, you keep hearing Raven reviews about Earl and what he brings to the table. This is a guy, again, I think he's going to be when you have transfer players, you kind of want them to have an instant impact, but sometimes it takes time to develop, and I think that's the case with Earl Little. The light switch pretty much flicked at the end of last season and it carried over. I do think the hiring of Tony White has pretty much taken Earl Little to new heights in regards to playing to his strengths and what he can do on the football field and just moving around, being in a rover position, letting his physical play from a defensive back standpoint and athleticism stand out. He's a kid that's going to be a star for FSU this upcoming season, in my opinion. The coaches are pretty high on him, really high. And this has been a shocker to me so far in regards to the starting safety lineup. And this is just me personally. I thought Shaheem Brown was going to be running with the ones coming into fall camp, but that hasn't been the case. KJ Kirkland has been the starting safety along with Edwin Joseph. Those have been the two deep safeties in regards to that's been running with the ones thus far. Of course, it's very early in fall camp. A lot more football left to be played, but that was something that was eye-opening to me, but in a good way, because KJ Kirkland, he's a guy I was pretty high on. He was a redshirt freshman last year. We had a bunch of young safeties, Conrad Hussey, KJ Kirkland, Edwin Joseph. We had a bunch of young guys within that defensive class. They had a lot of talent. They played some football last year, played sooner than expected. They took some lumps within the 2-10 season, but you saw some signs within those guys. It's starting to pay off now as Edwin Joseph is going to be one of your better players, and KJ Kirkland is developing to be a nice safety. He's getting 1 reps right now ahead of Shaheem Brown. So that's going to be interesting to watch as we play out the rest of fall camp. But pretty much my takeaway thus far, and also Amari Williams, I don't want to leave him out. Amari Williams, he has been playing both ways for FSU in practice. He's been getting tight end work and he's been getting defensive end work. I think from a defensive standpoint, we're going to see Amari more so like a pass rush specialist, third down situations, sharpest athleticism to get to the quarterback. But he's going to be a guy that's going to be playing both offense and defense for FSU this season. But to wrap things up, long story short, I think if FSU stays healthy, it can get pretty interesting, man. If FSU stays healthy, they can shock a lot of people. When I say shock a lot of people, people aren't really looking for FSU to do too much this year, and rightfully so. We went 2-10 last year. It looked really bad. Some of the worst football, not some, probably the worst football I've ever seen, especially from an FSU perspective. But again, coming into the season, you got to flush those old tapes. This is a completely new team, new vibes. I really like what I've been seeing and hearing thus far. Just got to stay healthy. We stay healthy, I think we'll be fine within the season. The FSU can win some football games and compete for some things. Last thing I do want to touch on, I think the vibes are in general is different as far as just the energy we've been hearing. There's been a lot of talks about leadership, people stepping up, things like that. Thomas Castellano, Darrell Jackson, Jeremiah Wilson. He's the guy that's been stepping up. So you've been hearing a lot of encouraging things in regards to the teamwork, the camaraderie, the competitiveness, holding guys accountable, all the things that you want, all the things, to be quite honest, that we were lacking within last year's football team. You've been hearing within this football team. So that's a good thing as well, to get that mindset back within the locker room. So I think that's going to pay dividends as well as far as team camaraderie and how much success we have within the season. All right, guys, that's all I have. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to tap back in with you guys with more camp updates. Go Noles.